Today I would like to show you how to play the piece that I wrote in this video. So I want to keep those, but in the melody. Oh yeah, like that. If you're unfamiliar with that series, I did a whole collection of videos on how to turn something from a randomly generated groove into a fully formed piece, and I did it all in real time and you can watch the whole process. So if you're interested in that, check that out. But in the meantime, let's learn how to play this one. Alright, so the first thing we need is the groove, and it looks like this. So first we have an accent on the shoulder here, on the 1, and then 2 ghost notes, 1 and 2. Really quiet on those ghost notes, especially if you're playing a stainless instrument like this. It has a tendency to really ring, so you want to really pull that back. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Next strike, 1 and 2. And so then we're moving the non-dominant hand over onto the ding for the 3. 1 and 2 and sorry for the and of the 2. 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3 again. 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3 again. 1 and 2 and 4 again. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 again. 1 Then we have another ghost note. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we have another accent with the non-dominant hand, this time on the shoulder. So it looks like this. Right? So it's the same kind of strike as the one on beat 1, but we're doing it on the opposite hand. And this is what's giving it a little bit of that funk, right? Usually in a lot of popular music, the main heavy beats are on the 1 and the 3. But here, you'll notice the 3 is a ghost note, so that's what's giving it that really fun, syncopated, funky feel. 1 and 2 and 3 and again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 again. 1 and 2 and 3 and again. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 again. 1, 2 and. Notice that as I'm preparing myself to come around for the next round, I'm still keeping these ghost notes going. That's what's keeping me in time and getting me used to this motion too. So that I'm ready when the next round comes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now we have another ding, and it's going to come straight after this accent here. Sounds like this. Right, straight after. To the count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Let's just do one of those in isolation. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then we fill in that extra and at the end with a ghost note on the non-dominant. And that's it. This is one of those grooves that once you get it up to speed sounds really cool. accent here isn't as strong as the 1 that happens on this side. It's noticeably there, but it's not like a 10 on the dynamic range, it's more like a 7, right? So that's one thing to consider is how you are using that dynamic space, not just how you are using the rhythmic space. Think about how loud each of your strikes are going to be. Okay, so that's the groove. Let's move on to the chord progression. So for this one, and this might sound different on your instrument, I'm using notes 1 and 3. 2 notes together. I only ever use 2 notes together. Then I'm using notes 2 and 4. And then I'm using notes 3 and 5. Very simple, right? So the 2 notes, first note in front of you and the one next to it on the right. Then we're moving up a note, so we've got the next note next to you on the left, and the next one next to it, and then we move up again. That's all it is, we're just moving up in order. You can use both hands, or you can use one, whatever you prefer, or whatever you need more practice at. So you can practice whatever your weakness is. And we're just going to count that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 4. And then we play the same one again the 4th time, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and this one again. 1, 2 and 3 and back down. 1, 2, 3 and next chord 2 and 2 and 3 and 4. Next one 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 2 and 3 and start again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 3 and 4 and so the entire piece that I wrote is all based off that chord progression. So now let's start to add the groove to the chord progression. So what we're doing is we're replacing this first accent on the 1, right, with a chord instead, and then everything else stays the same. It's all that's changing. First strike. Now, because I'm using 2 hands for these chords at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm actually skipping some of the ghost notes to give me time to get over to the ding. So this is why it's really good to count out loud and to also feel it in your body so that you've got some kind of action or thing to keep you grounded in that beat, so that if we're not constantly playing the ghost notes, something is still holding us together, right? I find it much easier to skip a few of those ghost notes here and there, because I can really flow with my hands then and everything feels a lot more natural. And that's something that with repetition and practice and playfulness will come naturally over time. So let's play that round a few times with the chords and the groove together. Ready, 1 and 2 and off we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 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 At this speed, we can keep those ghost notes in. Great. So if you don't have that yet, pause the video, keep practicing. But now that we've seen how the groove works on its own, the chords work on their own, and the groove and the chords work together, let's move on and learn the melody. I'm actually going to teach the melody with the chords involved because I feel like it's all very intertwined, and that's how I wrote it as well. So, as usual, keep the chords on the 1, that doesn't change. Then we're going to jump right to the top of the instrument for note 8. 1 and 2 and. Alright. And 2 and. This note here, this accent, is in the same place where the first accent on the groove was. So I wrote this melody based on the accents of the groove that was generated in that previous video, right? So that's how this came about. And 2 and 3 and. So we're going to go down from 8 to 6. 1 and 2 and 3 and. This is all with the left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and. And then, as you know from the groove, we jump straight to the 4, and that's going to be played over here on note number 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 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 Nice. So that rhythm for the melody is going to stay the same. We're just going to move the shape of the melody around a little bit. So for the next line, we move on to chord 2. If you have an instrument with this extra note, then you can jump up here. If you don't, then instead you can jump across to note number 5 with your right hand. And then the rest is all the same. So either this, and 2 and, or this. 1 and 2 and. I'm going to stick to this one for now, so that I can benefit 8-note pans. The next 2 notes are exactly the same as the first line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We already have this motion. We've already practiced that one. So let's play this a few times round. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2. Play those 2 lines together, sounds like this. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Bit heavy-handed there. And you see how it all is connected, it all works together. And then of course we'd shift over to the 3rd chord, and we're just going to repeat line 1. Easy. So let's put all 3 of those lines together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we play the same chord again for the next line. And this is where it changes. This is how we're creating this sense of phrasing. I'm not going to keep the rhythm the same this time. I'm going to close off this nice 4-bar phrase by using a little run down the scale. Really simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And the notes that we're playing are 7, 6, 5, 4. Starting with the right hand. But you can fill in this space however you like, right? When you start to experiment with this, you can solo around and do whatever you want with it. For now, looks like this. So in context, let me show you how that works. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. and then we loop back around to the beginning. So this run down the scale is on 3 and 4 and the second half of the bar, right? So let's try that together 2 times around. Ready, 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3 and 4. 1, 2, and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Ready to run. 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's it. That's the main bulk of the piece. So with this high note up here, let me show you what that one sounds like. And with the low note instead. Really slight, tiny difference. And you can variate that between each repetition so that you've got a little bit of difference, so it doesn't get too boring as you play. You can also change what the run looks like. You can move down or up. Yeah, each repetition, change that up a little bit. And you can put the parts together in different ways. So I'm just going to play around with this now and show you how it could work. And then I invite you to really play around with it and do whatever you like with it. So I'll start with just open chords and then start to put the different versions and variations together. So I hope you have fun exploring and experimenting with that. Feel free to make it your own as much as you would like. And if you're looking for some inspiration on how to go about that, how to get creative with it, then I recommend you check out this video next.